just checking Facebook. Oh, here we go. I think we're going to go live. This is the Paul Gough audio experience, business lessons for physical therapists. My name is Paul Gough, former professional soccer physical therapist turned successful business owner and best-selling author from the UK. Each week, we answer your questions and bring you an inspiring story or person from the global physical therapy community. This show is dedicated to sharing with you everything you need to know to become hugely successful in private practice. Thanks for joining me today. Now let the class begin. Shaden, are we there? Can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
How good was that? This is Jake is getting producer Jake's getting very slick these days with his production skills.
Very impressive.
He is. He keeps surprising me. He keeps pulling these things out of the bag. So welcome.
Thank you.
Shaden. Nice to see you. I'm just going to
Thank you.
make sure that we are good on Facebook, and I'll start hopefully getting questions from people coming into the Facebook group as well. So yeah, welcome. What's going on? Tell us a little bit about your business and just what you're up to right now for people to catch up, if you like. Obviously, I know what you're up to and what your business is doing. Tell us a little bit about just how you've got here and what's happening in your business right now.
Okay, so you want to know how I started, or
everything?
You want to know everything? Okay, I don't know if we have enough time for this.
How did we get from? It doesn't need to start with I was born in, but
Yeah.
tell us how did we go from working for somebody and potentially working in a clinic to start your own practice to just where you are right now, so people can get a little bit of a backstory.
Yeah, so I actually used to be a physio for a big hospital system in Manhattan, NYU. So worked there for many, many years, was pretty content, had a couple babies. So I realized I should be kind of scaling back a bit on my hours. So I decided to move closer to home, decided to work for a smaller practice where it was a little bit more flexible in hours. Realized pretty quickly that they just weren't doing things the way I thought things should be done. And I pretty quickly realized that I just rather do it myself and give it a go. And so, as with most things I do, I started with very small liability. I rented a room, very small room in a yoga studio.
Yeah.
Sold the yogis for all their various injuries. Everybody got to know me as the PT who can find things and fix things that have been there for a while. So kind of developed a name in the community for that. And pretty quickly had to move out of that little space into a bigger space. Again, so kept just word of mouth. A couple of doctors kind of got wind. I actually ended up moving next door to an internal medicine doctor who ended up treating her, and then she liked what I was doing. So just kind of built from there, and was busy. I mean, I was totally busy. I was packed to the max, While I was building it, I was definitely doing other things and working for people on the side, teaching, doing certain things just to keep income coming in. So I didn't go full into the business, if you will, from the beginning. When I realized that I needed to stop my other jobs was kind of around the same time that you came around in my life, and started listening to you on podcasts and reading your content. I realized that you're gonna get out of something what you put into it. So I realized I'm kind of half-assing this thing, and if I actually want to do a good job at it, I might as well put some actual real effort and time. So I would just kind of wait around for the leads, and they came to me pretty easily, free flowing. So that was right.
Roundabout, for context, roundabout what, 2017 ish.
You came into my life around 2018.
So we're
actually end of 2017, beginning of 2018.
Okay, so 2018, you're kind of dabbling. You're doing well, but you're kind of not quite in and you're not quite out, if you like. It's kind of a bit of everything, right? So common story for a lot of people. It's actually not too dissimilar from my story, which was very similar. Quit professional soccer, but had probably 3 or 4 different incomes. I was working in rooms in a gym. I had a facility in a dance center, and I was doing private work on the side at the at my house. I was doing some first aid teaching. I was what else was I doing? I had about 4 or 5 different jobs at one
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
and that was the bridge. I'd started doing some teaching for schools.
Yeah.
It was kind of a bridge that I needed to get over that hurdle of not having irregular income. And I think it's actually a very smart thing for people to have, because if you don't have something to fall back on, occasionally you do kind of scared, stupid things because you kind of find yourself needing the money. And it's not always the best thing for the business in the long run. You're constantly making day-to-day decisions. So we're at 2018 now. You're doing well, but you obviously want more. What happens next? Why do you kind of where
I mean,
well, let's do this. Let me go into the future a little bit. Okay,
yeah.
park it there at 2018. Where are we now, right? And then we'll talk about the gap in the middle. Talk about the business as it stands today. 2018, you had a few side hustles. 2 years later, what does this business look like now? And then we're going to try and fill in some gaps.
Okay. So right now I have employed 4 people. I just made an offer to another full-time physical therapist. He accepted the offer. That'll be 5 employees. I basically am out of the day-to-day hassles, if you will, the day-to-day sort of operations of the business.
Yeah.
I've really stepped out of that significantly. Then I've also been able to cut down my treatment hours to, I was seeing anywhere between 50, 60 patients a week on my own. Seeing 20 or 30 now, and that's already become too much. So that's why I've hired again. And it's fun. I mean, the other thing is actually having a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot about myself and leadership, which is a whole new thing. It's just I'm learning something totally new, which is really, really fun.
Yeah.
And I have time. I have more time. I'm more present with my kids. I don't want to say I have more time, but I'm more present. When I am with them, I'm with them. And that is awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, I used to be on my laptop while they were talking to me and they knew I was half in, half out. Like everything else. I did everything half in, half out.
It's a wonderful observation about yourself, and I think, and well, I talk about this a lot. Obviously, as you've been around us in business. I think the secret really is to success in business is success in understanding yourself and who you are and what you're doing. And if you remember from the mastermind call that we had at the weekend with Rob, where he talked about some people put their toe in and some people kind of jump in,
Yeah.
and the people who put their toe in kind of need to jump in, and the people who jump in all the time need to stop jumping in and kind of start dipping their toe in the water, if you like. And a lot of people are they're part-time everything, right? This is the thing that I see. They're part-time PTs, they're part-time business owners, they're part-time parents, they're part-time friends, they're part-time accountants, they're part-time whatever, and they just can't do any of it well. And I think when I watch somebody like yourself go from 2 years ago kind of dabbling and doing well and making money and kind of you're never going to be starving, but to going from where you are there to today, it isn't that you could have worked any harder, right? And that's kind of what I tried to get at. When you're getting
No.
to where you are, you couldn't have worked any harder. And yet what you see is a failing business owner who is failing in kind of almost every area of their life in terms of what they would actually want. I'm not saying that they're doing badly, but they're not doing the thing that they want. Therefore, by definition, they're not having the fulfillment with their kids. They're not haven't got the size of the business they would like. So they're kind of failing to achieve that. It's nearly always because they're trying to work harder in those areas. And in the end, what has to happen is you have to eradicate some of those areas so that you've got more left over to be a parent or to be a business owner or be the marketer or be the clinician if that's what you want to be. But the minute you start trying to be world class at 7 or 8 things, like something will give.
Yeah.
So tell me
Definitely.
about, we know where we are now, and you're finding time. You've got more time with kids. The business is doing phenomenally well in New York, despite COVID and all of these concerns and everything that's happening. We are still recruiting. It's still happening. How have we got there? What's the steps you've took?
Okay, so go back to 2018. I started with business growth school. I started applying some of the concepts very quickly before I even came into Mastermind, just based on your podcast, pretty much. I hired my first, because that was a big part of something you were saying, that you can't do this alone. So I did hire a part-time, sort of admin person to help me with just little things, everything and anything. She could do anything. She did everything. She was great. She is great. I still have her. Help me kind of progress in terms of organization. I was able to move into Mastermind, and from there, it was just this continuous learning curve and applying concepts and just listening and learning just the way you would as you're going through, PT school and developing yourself. I made a commitment, and my commitment gets stronger every year, because like I'm a big dabbler, right? So like I keep getting better at committing, but I'd commit to one thing and get it, and then when I saw a result, I'd say, all right, that was good, let's do more of that. And and then there was the next thing, and there was the next thing. And I think the thing that helped me the most was hearing you say that you don't have to do it all at once, because that's always what I've done. And I stepped back and I said, well, where's the priority? Where's the most important things that we need to deal with at this point? And I tackled it sort of one thing at a time.
So give me some examples of the big decisions that you made. What were two or three of the things where you had to decide, whether it was personally or in that business, in order for you to start to grow it in terms of the people and the infrastructure? What were the two or three like big fundamental things that you had to do?
Yeah, so my first PT hire was a really big decision for me. I didn't know how to onboard her. I was so nervous about whether or not I was going to be able to have a good discussions with her, whether or not I was going to be able to be a person she could look to and think, okay, that's a person she could learn from. Can I articulate in that way? I'm used to just doing. So for me to step back and kind of be a mentor to somebody, it scared me. So that was a big one for me. That first hire was a really big deal.
So you think the reason that in the beginning you didn't hire was more kind of self belief, if you like, in that you might not be the best boss or the best mentor or the best person to do that?
Yeah, I think I told you at one point I hate teaching, and I actually love teaching, but I did tell you that, and you were like, I think you rolled your eyes or something. So, I mean, it turns I've always taught, it's so funny, but I convinced myself that I wouldn't be good at that, and so I held back. I was working like a crazy person. I mean, I started coming in on Sundays, Saturdays and Sundays, and it was insane. So I just kind of had to pull the trigger, and I found someone who was great for that time. She was just perfect. So she helped to offload me.
Yeah. So tell me then. I'm gonna dig. I love this. Tell me about the first few weeks and months with this PT. It obviously worked out. What did you do? How did you get over that? That fear. How did you get to the point where she's still with you right now and doing well?
Like it was so nerve-wracking in the beginning, but then when she came on and I realized who she was, I then remembered that she's a person, and that I'm a person, and that we can get along because we have a love for this profession and we have a love for people. So it was like, okay, this is okay. We have common ground. We can do this. So I was just she knew I was super honest with her. I made her laugh a lot at how much I didn't know, and she was okay with it in terms of, onboarding her. And she was so good about just kind of rolling with the punches. I mean, I didn't make it horrible. I did what I lead with love, I guess, and that's what I did, and it just worked. It wasn't very organized, but it was definitely love. So
I like I mean I love this, and the more I speak to people in business, you do find out that we've all got different reasons that we're not doing the thing that we need to do. But a very common one that's becoming apparent now is that there's almost this there's a huge internal angst and fear about being judged by particularly PTs, by another PT who judges you for not being a great leader, right? It's almost as if you could just judge me on the clinical skills, I'd be comfortable. But if you're having to judge me on the leadership skills, then that's where I freak out, and that's where I'm not, I'm not going to go. And really, when you kind of analyze that, you think, okay, well, is there a genuine fear of not being a good leader, or is it actually a lack of understanding of what leadership requires and is? And when you really strip back leadership, the primary thing that people want from you is just to know where you're going, right? They just want to know where we're going. If you look at anything around you in politics or anything that's happening right now in COVID, it's like, what are people screaming for? Direction. They want to know where this ends. They want to know where this is going to go, and they want to know the route. They want to know the roadmap. Like, what is it and how do we get there? And I don't know anybody who isn't capable of having that for a business. It's like, it's certainly you know what you want. We sometimes struggle to articulate it, but really, that's the first ladder on the rung of leadership, is just to know where we're going. And if you can get one or two people underneath you who will, kind of show some willing and come with you, and you can just keep communicating. This is where we want to go. We want to be $1 million practice. We want to help 300 people a week. We want to grow a team. We want to do this thing together. We want to change the way that healthcare is delivered around here. Whatever. If you could just keep communicating that in the end is what somebody gets behind.
Yeah.
So it's just acknowledging that leadership isn't this big, bad, scary thing. And the second thing is that you will be a better leader today than you were yesterday. And by understanding that, again, part of leadership requires that you're constantly growing and learning. And therefore, you will be you won't have been as good yesterday as you should be today, if that makes sense. And it's, again, I think it's a lack of understanding that leadership isn't about having all the answers. Leadership actually is about bringing people in and going, great, Jake, figure this thing out for me because I ain't got a clue how to do it. Or Jake, you bring me all the ideas. I know I need some listeners for these podcasts and this YouTube stuff, right? But I don't know how we're going to do it. And then it's his job to do that, if you like. And therefore, I've got the vision, but he kind of brings the know-how. And it's been very comfortable with doing that I don't have to be Mr. All the Answers. I just have to be very secure in not having the answers. And it's liberating. It's actually, it almost gets to the point where when you lead people, and I almost forget how many people I've got now in my teams, that the best thing about it, as you grow, you will have to come up with less answers. And you will just have to lead the team in such a way that you're taking them to where you want to be, but they're the ones who are going to get you there. And it's being very, very comfortable with that. And I think that's the barrier that business owners have got across, is that you don't need the answers. You just need to know where you're going. They'll find the answers.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
what else? Tell me some of the things that you've learned either about yourself or a big decision you've had to make to get to where we are today.
Yeah. So, well, it's interesting. So we moved again after that and into a bigger premises. That was very scary. Can you feel it? Can you not? I mean, so as soon as I brought on that first PT, we needed more space, brought on the bigger space. I'm looking to move again into a bigger space now. So, I guess I'm doing something right. I just keep trying, I keep listening, I keep applying, implementing, executing. I'd say the game changer at this point, this was kind of recent, was the ops manager.
Yeah.
She has changed my life. I mean, I didn't really know what an ops manager was. I didn't know if it meant just an office manager or, okay, she's supposed to put away some files. I really didn't know what it meant, but it means that she actually gets to deal with all the tactical day-to-day stuff that I realized was taking up so much of my headspace. Yeah. Does this person have their plan of care signed? Does this, did we follow up on the accounts receivable? Did we invoice this person? I used to obsess over the schedule. I mean, obsess, because I wanted it filled at all times, right? So that I did really well at, trying to juggle and obsess over the schedule, getting people in, calling people, getting past patients to reactivate. I did all that stuff myself. She's doing all of this stuff that I just listed. She's doing it all for me. And she's recruiting for me as well. So I basically show up at an interview now and have a file and I do the interview.
it's such a good point, and two things we've spoken about that I know a lot of people are listening to this who are going to go through is how do I recruit my PTs, and in the end it's not really a how problem, it's a who problem in terms of knowing exactly what you want and how potentially you might manage that who, if you like. And the other one is the is definitely the operations managers. You've watched the community that we've been part of for the last couple of years. A lot of people are reaching that point now where they're tapped out, they're out of time, and they're actually they're never going to grow because they're out of time and they cannot get anything more done. And the secret, if you like, to actually running the business to allow the business owner to grow the business is this ops manager. And I think one of the things that holds people back again from hiring an ops manager is like what you said. I don't really know what an ops manager does. Well, it isn't an office manager that just shuffles paper or answers the phone or kind of does the HR or does the payroll or does the billing or whatever, the books. It's very strategic if you like, in that it frees the business owner up to be able to spend more time doing high leverage things, i.e., train the
Yeah.
team, recruit the team. If you and I if you and I have the same amount of time in the day, which we do, and every business owner does, and you spend all of your day on tasks, and I spend all of my day on high leverage activities, I could go home 5 hours earlier than you, and I'd still have a bigger business. I'd need to catch up. You'd get ahead of
Yeah.
me, right? The truth is, you'd get ahead of me for the first 3 months because you'd be getting a lot of busy work done,
Yeah.
and you'd be getting a lot of patients seen, and you'd be getting a lot of um, phone calls made and just stuff happening. But what you'd realize after 3 to 6 months, you'd burn out, you'd tap out because you can't keep doing that, and the effect of your tasks would produce work that you would need to fulfill on. So now you'd start doing other tasks and
Yeah.
you would quite literally be out of time. Whereas if I sit there and I go, okay, great, you're the what is it, the tortoise and the or rabbit and the tortoise, I can't remember, rabbit and the turtle. That's it. The turtle, like
Tortoise in the hair.
the tortoise in the hair, right? Yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're going very very fast, but I'll catch you up in the end
Yeah.
because I'm working on my marketing plan, or I'm working on my marketing strategy, or I'm developing the team, or I'm building an infrastructure inside of Infusionsoft, or something that's going to pay off and
Yeah.
allow me to do it once, but get paid out on it for the rest of my life. It means when I've done it. In fact, today you've caught me just before I come on here. I was inside of Infusionsoft, and I've been just looking at some things. It's the first time I've been inside Infusionsoft for about 3 years, right? Seriously,
That's
seriously, right?
amazing.
It's and it's well, it's not because it's doing my fucking head in having to go back in trying to find stuff that I did 3 years ago, right? But it's
Hmm.
an amazing accomplishment that I haven't had to be inside there for 3 years. Now the point is I probably spent a week inside of Infusionsoft 3 years ago creating some stuff that
Yeah.
has stood for 3 years and helped me build this business. Right? That's high leverage work. Now I'm going back in just because it's coming to the end of the year and I kind of want to look at, the marketing positioning and the message and all those types of things. And I'll make a shift to some of those things that will take me a day, maybe it's next week, but it will last another year. So I'm doing a day's worth of work that could give me a year's worth of leverage.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing for a business owner to get to is to move away from tasks. So you hire your ops manager, you pay your $50,000 a year, but you free yourself up to go and do $250,000 type stuff, which will only come from team or marketing strategy or plan or culture, onboarding, training, all of these types of things that business owners want to tell themselves they're too busy for,
Yeah.
if you like. So, what else? Give me one more. Another big decision in this kind of gap between 2018 and 2020. It's only 2.5 years, really. You look how far you've come in such a short period of time. What else? What maybe something I don't know personally, or something a mindset shift, or something that had to kind of happen in order to get you from dabbling and working 18 hours a day to like, all right, I'm all in now and I'm building a business that doesn't rely upon me.
Yeah, all in happened when I joined CEO, I'd have to say, because I was all in financially. So then, it's what I say to my patients, why are you paying me all this money if you're not going to do what I say?
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to pay him all this money and not do what he says. So I was really all in, and I'm just going with consistently
But what?
wrapping
Let me
up,
let me
getting,
go back then. So let me go back. So all right, you made a decision to join a coaching program at a high level. And that does give you a heightened level of accountability that forces you to do something that on your own you wouldn't have done. Again, little understood by the the business owner community, if you like, that when you buy coaching or you buy seminars or you buy training or whatever, the more you pay, the higher the level of accountability that you buy. And in the end, that's the key, that
It
you
is.
look for ways to buy a heightened level of accountability. Without accountability, you don't get anything done. But I also know that that's not the driver. There's a driver that causes you to do that. What was it? It's normally something that you feel like you can't achieve something, get something done. There's something missing. You're just frustrated. It's like, I need to do this I need to do X to get Y, right? I needed to join CEO to do what. So it's kind of, what was that?
What was my why?
Yeah, what was the like the big what was the all right, I'm pissed off. I need to do this.
I'm
Like,
never pissed off. That's the thing. I'm always happy wherever I am, and that's my problem. So like, it's not. It's a blessing and a curse. I'm always content, and I can live in a place with whatever it is that's there and be content. It's just the way I am. I've lived like where I couldn't pay my bills and I was still happy.
yeah,
It is what it is. So okay, so what pushed me to commit and to drive forward was the fact that I looked at my staff and I was like, wait a minute, I'm responsible for these guys. Like, it's like I don't want to ever have to let anyone go because I was too lazy to make some Infusionsoft campaigns that could activate people, who were unsure about our services, or doing some, or just strategizing around some marketing, or off giving some tasks away that I shouldn't be doing so that I can think high level, so that I can get to the next level. And so that when people do come in to work for me, I have something really great to say, and say, here, this is what we're working on. It's not like I had to start thinking bigger than myself,
yeah,
and not because, and it organically. I'm not going to say it was because I wanted it to. I really had to have a team, and I really had to have a big business,
yeah,
because quite honestly, if you would have asked me 2-3 years ago, I would have said, I'm totally happy. I'm making great money. I'm making over $100,000 to my pocket. I feel like I'm not very fancy. I'm good, but I'm bringing on these people. I'm having fun. We're connecting. We're having a great time. So in the same way that I love my patients and care for them and want to see them thrive, I'm going, wow, I feel this way about these people. And what does that mean? So it doesn't mean I have to take more courses. It means I have to get better at this thing called business. And I grew up with my whole family are entrepreneurs. My dad, my brother, everybody owns their own business. I grew up with this mentality. I almost pushed it away on almost in spite, but it was in me. So because this is all I heard about growing up, it was almost like, no. I'm going to be this professional doctor-like person. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. You guys focus on money. This isn't cool. So I kind of pushed it away, but it's in my blood. It's like all I heard about. My dad would, oh, look at this new book I got on customer psychology. And I'm like, oh God, great. So well, me and my dad had a great relationship. So he would talk to me about it, and, I'd listen, and it was what I listened to. It's all he talked about. So I think I had a little bit of a natural kind of like, oh, what is this? And then I always want to do things really well, or not do them at all. So then it was like, all right, well, maybe I'll go get my MBA. So this is an MBA, I realize. I'm getting my MBA, but it's actually better because it's specialized. Like, if I went and got my MBA, they're not going to know anything about physical therapy business.
yeah, yeah.
So I feel like I am in business school. So I'm back in school and loving it, really.
Good story. It's a great story. I've never heard you say that before, but I wonder if there's something in that as to why I'm just thinking out loud as to why you maybe were a little tentative about kind of wanting to grow the business. And I don't know if there could be, and again, I might be way off, but there could be something in it that you almost may have been a little bit fearful of not being successful in business in case you didn't live up to a standard that you perceive from your father or brothers or family, that they may have been looking at you and thinking, oh, Shaden did or didn't achieve this thing. And I don't know if that's the absolute thing, but it's nearly always that there's something subconscious in us that we resist doing the thing and we'll never be able to explain it. We'd never verbalize it, but
Yeah.
it was there that, and then that explains why you're so tentative, because it's kind of like I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna make my way forward, but like don't judge me and I'm not gonna get this wrong. And it's like I'm
Yeah.
gonna make this amount, and I'm not gonna admit that I like this. And if this thing kind of happens, it happens. It's like and you're protecting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe,
And
maybe
I'm
not.
not going to admit I like selling, because I used to always tell my dad, well, I don't want to sell anything. And he'd make me come to work with him, and he'd sit me there and I'd say, well, I'm not going to sell anything. I don't want to do, I don't want to do this. So he'd say, all right, just
Yeah.
watch the products, make sure no one steals anything. All right, I could do that. Half the time I fell asleep. So, you know, it's funny. I think I did. I think I do have I did have this little fear over being, well, I think I also labeled myself as a person who who couldn't sell, who, you know, was very professional and only into medical stuff. And that's like,
There's, there's half a
I created
chance.
this label.
Yeah, there's half a we all create labels. There's half a chance you went to your
Yeah.
dad's store, did try to sell something, somebody said no, and then you were just like, "Oh, that's it. I don't like selling."
I'm sure that happened. Yeah, I probably don't remember. I'm sure that's happened. And then my
And
brother
that's
would come in and he's like this great like sales guy, and my
yeah.
dad was like, oh, like everybody was, bowing down to him. He was the
There you go. There you go.
he could sell anything.
I think you've just untapped the kind of little kind of thing, if you like. Tony Robbins always talks about this. I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins, and he talks about this that ultimately everything in your life that's holding you back is in your past. That it's everything, and it's the OI. I think he calls it the OI, the origin incident, where there was something in your life, the origin of your like behavior today was such a simple thing that you went into a store, your dad asked you to sell to a customer, the customer was rude to you, and that was it. You felt rejection, and you never wanted to sell again. And all of a sudden, business is bad, selling is bad, everything's bad, and it's actually all just a smokescreen for I felt shitty when I was 8, trying to sell to a guy having a bad day, right? And that
Yeah.
affects your life for 30 years until you figure it out. And I've no doubt that that's happening to business owners, and that might be, I'm writing down here as you were talking. You label yourself a dabbler. I actually wrote down here tentative. I think that's what you are, and it's actually a very nice trait that you're very you're a good thinker, and that you don't dive bomb, if you like. You're not kind of like Kevin McAllister jumping into the pool at a bomb off the side of the pool, if you like. It's let me just kind of feel my way forward. But now I
Yeah.
think I kind of get where it comes from, in that you don't want to announce that you want to be this big successful business owner, because the minute that you do, all your family start judging you against this thing. Whereas right now it's you're a doctor, you're a very good doctor, and Shaden's a medical person, not a business owner. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Case closed, right? Case
Exactly.
closed
Exactly.
as to what,
Exactly.
yeah, as to what. I'm in the wrong job. This shouldn't be a bloody
You
interview.
should be a
I
psychiatrist.
was gonna say, make a few quid. I'll make a few dollars in, as we say in Britain. We'll make a few quid in New York. I would think up there right now. There'll be
Oh,
plenty,
oh, we need you over here. Yeah, just sit in my clinic. Actually, you'll get a lot of
there'll
business.
be plenty of people up there needing a little assistance right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, Dr. Paul. Correct. There you go. That could be the new TV show. I love it. See if you employ the right people, they come up with the best ideas. Not move over, Dr. Phil. I'm moving over. Where's he at? LA. I've always fancied living in LA for a little while. So
That's great.
so so we've got an ops manager. We've got PTs now. Tell me about some lessons that you've learned from stepping back. So kind of emotionally, or actual challenges within the clinic, cracks that have appeared as you've stepped back. How have we got you down from 50, 60 patients a week down to now, let's say 20? What's that journey look like?
The biggest, I have to say, I feel honestly so blessed. These people that I've hired have helped me ease out and of things in the pace that I need. And they've been so good. And I'm communicating with them exactly what it is, where we're going, why we're doing this, what our why is, that we're together in this, and we're always talking. I mean, constantly talking.
Tell me
So
give me examples of that then. So,
they,
because my fear is that when people think they hear communication, they think one time a week, one time a month. It's like, here's the vision, here's what I want, go make it happen. Tell me what does it look like
no,
for you constantly
I
communicating?
mean, Yeah, so they know a lot about my life too. They know a lot about what I value. They know what I'm about. They know my core values. Like I communicate them.
Give me a couple of values.
Yeah, so it's actually interesting because I know that core values are something that we need to communicate to perspective, hires and keep it at the tip of our tongue. So I realized my core value list was too long, so I condensed it. I have 3:
Yeah,
faith, growth, and impact.
great. Explain a bit more.
Yeah, so faith, that I will always choose, and this is nothing religious, that I will always choose faith over fear.
Yeah,
That I have a true faith over what the universe will give, and that things will work out. They always do.
good.
They're going to work out. I truly believe that. So I think I just naturally kind of within our group kind of put people's nerves at ease, and maybe even with the patients as well, I'm sure, because I 100% think we're going to get through this. It's going to be fine. Growth, that I have a growth. I've always had a growth mindset that, if you're not growing, you're dying. So learn something, do something, change someone's life, keep moving forward, and impact. And that I want to have a positive impact on the people around me, staff, patients, the community. I want to change the way people think about physical therapy.
Yeah,
I'm so passionate about this profession. And now I realize that staying in the treatment room is actually doing a disservice. So it's almost like selfish. I can only see so many people. So if I step out and I can actually train new PTs to think this way, because they're not, and if I can train these new PTs to think this way and help these people at this level, I can impact so many more people. And that's my thing, is impact. So yeah, so it's exciting. I mean, I'm excited to be able to do that, and step away even more and be able to, write that book I keep saying I'm going to write, and talk to people on more, on a higher level, and discuss things with, do more talks, do more workshops, get, things virtually, and set those things up and really just start to reach more people. And I think I'm ready to do that, because now I have like I have backup now. So like, if I don't feel like I have a base and support system and backup, it's hard for me to move forward. So I feel that I have that now. So I actually feel like I'm ready to take that next step and start to impact more people.
It's funny as you talk, and it's very similar to how you describe how you act. You start quite calm and kind of quite tentative, if you like, and then once I let you get going, it's like there's the Shaden that
Yeah.
kind of wants to take over take over New York. There's the entrepreneur, if you like. It's so obviously in it, in you, and you can tell. And now hearing your story and your family and everything, it's like it's great piecing everything together, if you like. And I can see why you've done so well with your team and why they stay with you and why this has grown so fast. You're obviously very passionate about what you do and the commitment that you've got to yourself, your team, and your people, and what you're trying to achieve. And if you do just keep communicating that, people get behind you and they'll follow you all the way up. They honestly, they'll walk across hot coals for you if you're passionate and you're energetic about what you do. I think where it goes wrong is where people lose they lose their, why am I doing this? Why am I actually in business? What's it all about? Why I'm getting hassle, I'm getting stick, I'm getting crap from patients or staff or whatever. That drains the life out of business owners, and in the end it just becomes a mill that they get on, and it's this kind of hamster wheel that they can't get off. So never ever lose that. I promise you. That if there's anything that's working for you, you've got loads of tactics, Infusionsoft, and all these things, I'm sure, and good recruitment job ads, but never ever lose that, because that gets you out of jail. Like, believe me, when you're passionate about what you want to do, and you know where you want to go, you're willing to execute, you're willing to do the hard lines, you're willing to do the work if you have to, but you're also willing to let the work go if you need to as well, for the sake of kids, or even just turning your staff into adults, dare I say it. And that's another big thing that, at what point do you let your kid walk to school? Well, at some point you're going to have to, right? We don't really want to, because it's like, oh shit, it's a little bit nervous and whatever else. But it's the same with your team. At some point you got to let them to walk to school on their own. You got to let them use the kettle for the first time, and having that, that outlook as to what you want to achieve usually gives you the confidence to let them walk to school on the first, for the very first time. So never ever lose that. Talk to me about your lessons learned in managing people. Talk to me about some of them as lessons you've learned about managing people, and just either some awkward conversations or just little things that you've had to say, hey, come on, I need a little bit more from you. Tell me about managing your team.
So I think something I've learned from some of my earlier hires were setting expectations from the beginning, and letting them know really what it is that I expect to see, what it is that I expect to have happen. And that has been a different, I've actually, in the interview, I get really passionate, tell them about my core values, tell them what I expect. And then a biggie that I really, need to have happen from you as if you come onto this team is flexibility and adaptability, because I really don't know where this is going. I do know where it's going, and I don't know where it's going, which is it's exciting, meaning that if there's an opportunity for us to take a turn somewhere that can bring us even somewhere unexpected, but even better, like, I'm going to probably take that turn. So you have to be willing to shift with me. So it might not be comfortable. So I'm going to let you know that you're not always going to feel comfortable. And, I don't expect I hardly ever feel comfortable, but that's just me. And I like it. I thrive on, the discomfort and the, the changes and the rolling with the punches. But, a lot of people who work for others, they want kind of this consistency and this kind of like knowing what's going to come. And I make that very known that I'm probably going to ask you to do something at some point that is going to sound weird. Like, I don't know, like clean, like clean the lights. There's bugs in the lights, like, stuff like that. Like, just because like I've done it and I've cleaned the toilets, and like, we should all do that stuff. And that's what a team does. And there shouldn't be any egos, and no one should be better than anyone else. I'm not better than anyone else. I don't, I don't know. I just try. I expect you to do the same. Just try and adapt and move.
Yeah, no, I love it. And it's a difficult one, because in the beginning, a lot of employees will tell you that they like change, and I'm open to change, and I'm adapted. I'm adaptable, and I'm open to whatever we need to do. And then all of a sudden, kind of like 90 days in, it's like, yeah, I know I said I'd be happy to work, a couple of nights a week, and overtime. It's like, can I get a fixed hours now, or can I stop this, or can I stop the other? So have you had anything like that where somebody has said yes, I will be adaptable, and I do want to kind of work with you on this, but then all of a sudden it's gone, oh, actually, hang on, Shaden, no, I need to get some stability here now.
Yeah, well, when I tried to implement the scorecards for the first time, I got a little pushback, and especially from the PTs. It's funny that
PTs hate accountability. It pisses me off.
It's very funny.
It just pisses me off. I have no other word for it. They're just medical people, right? And I include myself in it. We just think that we're above everything except like getting a fucking certificate at the end of the year. It's like that life requires you to be accountable day after day after day after day, not just when you're sitting aboard or needing to pass an exam.
Yeah. So so I knew they needed like a report on it. So I wrote a whole thing about it, and I explained why, who, when. I went into it in depth of why this will be better for not just me, but for the business as a whole. And we don't always want to think about ourselves isolated from the group. You want to have a little bit of, cohesiveness, and this is going to kind of bring us together. This is going to give us some better optics on what's going on in the business, so we can make changes. And actually, this is good for you, because if I can predict or anticipate something that's coming down the line, I'm probably going to be able to fix it before it's a thing.
Yeah.
So, which means that you have a better chance of keeping this job in a sense, you know what I mean? So because if we lose revenue or if something like that is the thing that happens, then maybe you become obsolete. So, this stuff needs to happen because of just moving forward. I mean, this is very normal. Every other business does it. I know we haven't done it, but this is just something I need you guys to do, let's, I try not to say this, this is what we're doing, but I explained it. And
I'm not.
they,
I'm not going to say that we all can have a debate over this, but it's like we're doing it. It's like we can have a conversation around it, but we're absolutely doing it. Is
yeah,
the
like ask me as
is the
many
thing. You have
questions
to
as
do
you
it,
want about it, but yeah, we're doing it.
but it's happening. It's like
Yeah.
you can ask. It's like Harry. You can ask me all you want about what time you're going to bed and why you don't like it, but like you're going at 7:30. It's
Yeah.
not open for
Yeah.
debate. I'll hand it to you a little bit and kind of hear you out, but that's just out of respect. But the thing with scorecards, what I find, and for anybody listening who hasn't done scorecards, once you get to a certain point in your business, it's kind of like revolutionary to get your team together and have a one-on-one every week or every second week, whatever it will be. And the more that I've done it, I've realized that what you're looking for with scorecards is actually personal problems. You're not necessarily looking for behavioral at work type problems. You're looking for crap that's coming down the line, usually nearly always personal related. 19 out of 20 times when you have a problem with a person at work and their performance at work is crappy, it's because of an issue at home. Now, there's not that much you can do about the issue at home other than be aware, sometimes be support, be cautious, be cognitive of it. But even just being a talking, a sounding board sometimes for somebody who's got a challenge going on at home, and the fact that you understand what's going on at home, you become the first person that they've listened to or they've had listened to them independently, and they feel immediately better in themselves because of that. And sometimes, by the way, the personal challenge is too big for you to be able to solve, and the person needs to leave the company. But at least you get a heads up on it. And there's been very few instances where I haven't been aware of a flight risk where it's I didn't know the date that they were going to go, or I didn't know the week. But it's like, yeah, if you pushed me on it, the signs were there. I knew it was coming. There's not that much I could do about it, but I'm ready for it, and I'm not gonna have a meltdown because this thing happened, or I needed to ask somebody to leave, or they wanted to leave, whatever. So you get a much better chance of actually running your business more smoothly, and you do genuinely get a chance of bringing them back into your kind of needs, if you like, for the business. So what's next, Shaden? What's next for you? Are we allowed to announce that you want to be a business owner and be successful and kind of like are we there yet? Or are we still just make sure your brother and your family don't see any of this stuff?
I know
Like
he said he wanted to listen to this though.
there you
That's
go.
great.
Well, you're in the game now. He knows
I'm
you're
in.
he knows
I'm
you're
in. Now there's no.
under the town. You're going to sneak up on him in a few years and go, "How much did you make?" You're going to go, "Yeah, I made twice as much last year." Like, call yourself
He'd
a
be so.
business owner. Yeah.
Yeah, we can announce it. I'm actually starting to be. If I can articulate why I love it, I'm good with it. You know what I mean? I couldn't get it in my heart that I loved it. I couldn't speak from the heart about it for a long time. So, but I'm there. I'm definitely there. So no, we can announce it and we can say that I love this thing called business, and I think that I'm just having so much fun with it. I'm learning so much. I can't wait for your new book to come out. I'm reading. Yeah.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. You've heard it all before. You'll have heard it all before. It's just all
Yeah.
in writing, I guess. 300. I think 320 pages. This one. It's the biggest by far. So it'll be a nice little read over Christmas.
I know I have to hear things many, many times before they stick. So
I'm the same. I'm definitely a reader. I love to read.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love to read. Just my favorite. I cannot wait till tomorrow. I'd be like, oh, I can sit by the pool. Kids will play on their iPads for a couple of hours, and it's like, oh, get me the book. Get
Yeah.
me a book, and I'll just doze off by the pool reading. Reading into. Bizarrely, it energizes me as well. Reading. I always find it. Some people read to go to sleep. Reading energizes me. I just.
Oh, I want to take notes. I want to highlight. I want to take my thoughts and create like a blog or something. So
Yeah. What's
Is it
next?
that it's
Where are we gonna go? Where are we headed with the with your business and just your life and where you're gonna go with it?
Yeah, so we are going to be expanding again, hopefully within the same building. Patiently waiting. We want to offer some, just, we've had a lot of discussions with our patients. I've had, numerous discussions with patients over the years around what they want and what they value and what they're looking for in a facility like this. Some of these people would be here every day, they've said, if they could. So, I'm trying to kind of create something for them
Yeah.
that, so now more than ever, right? So there's people who are having a lot of trouble figuring out how to take care of themselves, how to stay healthy,
Yeah.
trying to navigate, not getting a virus and still, maintaining their general health. I want to do a lot of education around that. I'm really passionate about nutrition, holistic healing, functional medicine. This is all stuff that really gets me going. Like, yeah, don't get me started on that. But I want to develop some programs for nutrition, for some, some fitness programs for people, things that they can do at home. We're keeping telehealth very much alive because I do know that there's some people who will want that and need it, and that's okay. But we're going to get better at that. That's something I'm working on right now, is getting my team better at telehealth, even better. We did a great job with it over the lockdown, but I think, you can always get better. So yeah, I mean, I'm working on expanding again and developing some in-house programs for our people. I mean, they're like, these people, they come in and we love them and they love us. And, there's stuff that we need to give to them. I know we can give them more. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. And I don't actually know how I'm going to do it yet. So
Well,
that's,
this is the thing. You don't have to know how. You just got to know where you want to go. You figure out the how is easy. This is the bit that people obsess over. The how is absolutely easy. It's like it's not gonna. There's no shortage of how-to advice. I mean, for fuck's sake, YouTube, right? Like everything you want on YouTube, right? What we lack is a clear path, a direction that we'll stick to, um, a vision or a goal that's inspiring, that causes lasting change, rather
yeah.
than somebody's going to listen to this, right? There'll be thousands of people listening to this by the time it goes up on the podcast, and people will come off this and go, "Shaden's so inspiring," and "Shaden's amazing," and you are right. And what will happen is it'll light a torch under the arse of about 5 people. Everybody else will move on to another podcast and just like kind of listen to another podcast. Like that's kind of what people do, right? Seriously,
Yeah.
because they lack they lack the ability to look into the future and go, that's what I want, and I'm willing to do anything to get it. I'm willing to pay the price. I'm willing to be vulnerable in hiring people. I'm willing to step back. I'm willing to kind of risk a little bit of what's the word? A little bit of your family looking at you and judging you, and maybe oh, hang on, Shadon's becoming a business owner, and even now, you kind of may not be wanting to announce it fully, just in case like those conversations kind of swing back again, because all of a sudden there's a new set of eyeballs on you, and that's pretty, that's pretty neat that you can do that, and that's where people struggle. It's not in the how. They think it's in the how, and they think it's in the, I need to read another book, and I need to read another thing, and I need to do this. It's like, no, let's get a vision and a view of what you want in your life that's big enough, that's bold enough, that's powerful enough, and have the courage to see it through. And that courage nearly always is in hiring people or finding people and obsessing over finding people that really, and I wrote it down earlier, there really is a massive misunderstanding of roles and what people actually can do for you. And you spoke about an ops manager, and kind of not really sure what an ops manager does, and I'm not really sure what this person does, and I don't really know. Well, that to me seems as though one of the things that people have got to, if you're running a business, you've got to get very clear on what you need people to do. Otherwise, you'll never get the how fixed, because you will run out of time, and you will run out of the energy, the inspiration that you got, if you like. That can get drained very quickly when you're the one doing the how all the time. The best part of running a business is in the recruitment of people to do the how for you, and you light the way, you show them where to go, you light up the path for them, and watch them go. And if if you love it at this point with 4, wait till it's 10 or 12 or 16 or 20, and you're coming into your team and your department and they're all high on energy and high on achieving things. You're surrounded by winners. You're surrounded by people who want to do things. You cannot wait to get up on the morning. And all of a sudden you look around and you go, holy shit, like how did we get here so quickly? And that comes from the vision, if you like, and the energy that you have to keep. What about personally? What's next? What if you crack all of this and we take over New York? What's in it for Shaden? What's the point? Can't just be about the business, because that's a little bit of a cop out.
I want to take my kids. I want them to see all the different countries that I've seen. I talk to them sometimes about walking around Paris, and
Good.
they just think it's so cool. And every time we watch a cartoon where the Eiffel Tower, and they'll say, "Oh, is that the thing? Is that the thing from Paris?" I said, "Yes, yes, that's it." So they have that thing in them too. That I always had that kind of curiosity. So I'm looking forward to feeding their little curiosity around that and taking them abroad and just hanging out and being in the moment and walking around random cities in Europe that we've never been to and going, oh, I wonder what's over there. And I wonder,
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun.
I don't know if I'm going to explain this right, but I've been a big traveler myself ever since I can remember. And what I always realize when I travel, I enjoy traveling more when I realize that wherever I've been in the last 3 or 4 months, or whatever I've done it to the best of my ability. And I think what I'm trying to say is, it's very easy to say I want to travel the world, and people go, oh, I want to go off and see Paris, or I want to go off and see London, or I want to see Portugal, whatever. But I know when I'm in Portugal or Paris or London or whatever, if I've been the best version of myself and I've achieved things and I've done things, when I'm there, being there feels so much better.
Yeah,
Period.
well, that's just it.
It's like there's a heightened level of this means something, because it was part of the business and the success that I've had, if you like, in that last 3 or 4 months before I came to Paris, or before I came wherever.
Yeah.
Paris is so much more. It's so much more enjoyable sitting in a coffee shop in Paris or London, knowing that you have give everything that you can to your business. You are achieving your passion or your purpose, or you are committed to something, and then being in those places is significantly more enjoyable than kind of being lost in these places. Because, and I think I'm trying to explain it this way: when you go to Paris, or you go to London, or you go to New York, or you go, in my case, heading up to New York, and coming over there from England originally, I loved knowing that I had something to go back to. So
Yeah.
Paris didn't become an escape for me. London didn't become an escape. New York didn't become an escape. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Your business becomes almost this thing that drives you to want to go and enjoy these places, but equally you can't wait to go back to what you've got. And because of that, you enjoy looking at the Eiffel Tower even more, knowing that it isn't a kind of solitary moment in your life where you're like, oh, this is amazing and I feel amazing. Well, actually, I feel amazing because I'm achieving all of these things, and I just happen to be here in Paris to top this thing off. And I hope I've explained that in the right way. But you've got to have the things going on behind it that makes it even better when you get to these cities.
Well, you explained it perfectly. It's the reason I haven't taken off and done it yet, because I just feel that I need to do these things. And like I said, I can't, it's hard for me to move forward when I don't feel I have structure and support. So that's what I'm working on, is this structure, this support, and that's through the team and through the business, and learning how to structure it and organize it. It's fun. And then, like you said, then you have the icing on the cake, and
Yeah,
with the kids, and having a great time.
good for you. Well done.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Well done. Fabulous, fabulous journey. And I'm going to give you a little round of applause. I think you've done absolutely amazing. So thank you for your time. Where can people find out more about you? What's your you on Instagram and Twitter and all those things?
Yeah,
What's your Instagram?
universuspt.com, and we're on Facebook, Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you very
Yep.
much. It's been a pleasure to watch your journey. I'm very proud of everything you've achieved. Keep up your energy. Keep up your love, even though it's a secret love affair. I think you've got with business now. It's almost like this affair you're having, if you like, with business. It's like you're married to PT, but you're now having an affair with business. It's like, just stay there. It's probably more fun anyway. So, well done. You're doing amazing. Keep up the great
Thank
work.
you.
Thank you very much. See you
Thank
soon.
you, Paul.
Thanks, Shannon. Bye bye.
Bye.